Hi, friends. Welcome back to another episode of the Hangout. It's Sid, and if you love music as much as I do, well, this is the perfect podcast for you. Today, our guest, she has danced her way into many people's hearts, from working on Netflix projects like Let It Snow to The Kissing Booth 2, and most recently, Julie and the Phantoms. This is our first time having a choreographer on the show, or assistant choreographer, dancer in general. So I'm super excited to just dive into talking about music, life, and everything in between. Let's welcome Miss Tori Caro to the show. How are you?
Oh, hey, I'm great.
You're in LA right now. How is life over there? Are you staying safe? How is everything?
I'm trying to stay as safe as possible. I got both of my vaccines, which I'm really excited about.
Oh my God.
Life over here is kind of weird. There's the extreme stay inside people, and then there's the exact opposite. I'm a bit in the middle. I'm trying to be as safe as possible while still being able to see friends and do projects and keep life going, but definitely washing my hands constantly.
Disneyland
wearing my mask.
Disneyland just opened too, right? Are you going? Are you going back?
I really want to. But it's been really hard. I heard some friends that were trying to go, and you have to have a reservation, and you have to let them know which park you want to start off at, and if it's not available, then you have to wait all day to get into that part. There's a lot of different rules, and I have to look into it. But I mean, at least it's not a free for all.
Yeah, totally. There's a purpose to the procedures and everything.
Yes, yeah.
Of course. Okay. Like we were saying earlier, I love having females on the show, supporting females, but also having an Asian female, Filipino queen represent. I guess before we dive into the music and everything, I kind of want to get to know who Tori is. What was it like growing up? What was your childhood like?
Wow, somebody asked me the other day, who is Tori? What is Tori? Think about it.
Who is Tori? Give us the juice.
I guess growing up, I grew up in Chula Vista, East Lake of San Diego. Cool. And it was funny because I grew up in schools, multiple different schools, because I don't know why I changed schools so much. I would go to elementary, or I went to my cousin's kindergarten just to hang out with my grandma, who helped and volunteered at the school, and I would participate in the class, and they allowed me to get the kindergarten credit at, I think it was 2 years too early or something like that. And so I went into first grade from there. And then I would switch around schools a bunch, just trying out the new schools, and there was a little bit of bullying issues, so I was trying to get away from that. But my whole point in that is I grew up in schools that were very ethnically diverse. And so there was an equal amount of Asians and Caucasians and Mexicans in my school, and it wasn't really ever, in South San Diego, it wasn't ever really dominated by one or the other. So growing up out of those schools and into quote unquote the real world, I didn't realize how, I mean, obviously I would get bullied or made fun of for my small eyes or whatever, but it wasn't really that big of a deal.
Yeah.
And it was just interesting, coming into the real world and realizing, oh, things are different. And
totally,
I don't know, it's just funny. That was my growing experience.
Dude, I feel like I kind of relate, because I feel like when I went to school, the Asians were kind of the majority. It was really weird in that sort of sense. And I think my first ever experience with racism was literally when I went to college and post-secondary. And I was finally the first time a minority. And I was like, what is this? Weird. Is this the world? And you don't even have that small of eyes. You I feel like I have pretty large eyes too. And it's just we're talking about eyes here on the podcast already, but
right. I mean, that's the go-to whatever whenever about Asians. And I mean, yes, they're sometimes my mom's you need to open your eyes in pictures, but
no, girl, you're good. But
I don't know. It was weird. I'm sure it was super weird for you going into college.
It was, I don't
But
know. It felt like a new world. And I feel like that's with the film industry too. Like,
mhm.
how was it for you kind of breaking into the film industry? Because I guess of course it's difficult being like a female already, but being like a female of color too. Like, how has that been for you navigating that?
I mean, I've luckily been around a lot of people who have faith in me and
Mm,
uh, have always been with somebody who kind of already knew me and vouched for my abilities. And
yeah.
then the abilities kind of spoke for themselves. So I grew the respect from my work rather than, of course, there's doubts. And there was one time where a camera op uh, didn't know that I was so involved with the show, and it was my
Mm-hmm.
first time working with him, and it was the first time, I think it was his first day or something, and I definitely noticed a difference of people who knew who I was and what I was capable of doing,
Mm-hmm.
and then how I was kind of treated in that way, just
Yeah.
like I didn't know what I was doing. And later on, I mean, he was like, "Oh wow, like I didn't realize you have a really good eye for this." But there's definitely its challenges, but if you support yourself and know that you have the ability and then also have the ability to back that confidence up,
Totally.
I think the biggest culture shock from the whole um, growing up in a very ethnically diverse environment into the new one,
Mm-hmm.
it just showed me how people don't treat people like humans.
That's a
You
good point.
know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
a lot of times you're just like, why is this a big deal? I eat just like you, I poop just like you, like I'm really confused. You know?
Yeah. 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 Sometimes you get the question like, "Oh, what do you eat at home?" And then it's like, "I eat the same food as you do."
I
Like,
mean,
what am I supposed to say?
eggs.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
like I eat rice, but you eat rice too.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Like, are you using chopsticks at
I'm
home?
confused.
I mean, like, yeah, I'm using utensils. Yeah. Forks,
I
spoons.
use utensils. Chopsticks are more convenient sometimes than other utensils. Like I
Totally.
think everybody should eat salads with chopsticks because it's so much easier than trying to stab a bunch of things.
Do you ever like eat chips with chopsticks? Like, do you
You don't, if
people
I
do
don't
hot
want to get my
Cheetos?
hands dirty, yes, hot Cheetos. Exactly.
Yeah.
I think it's a convenient thing. I don't think it's an Asian thing.
Yeah. I know. Okay. Okay. So okay, you hold like a lot of confidence. I respect you so much in that aspect. Have you ever dealt like with imposter syndrome in the industry?
All the time. All the time. Oh my
Okay.
gosh. Usually when I was on the set of Julian Phantoms,
Yeah.
uh, I was helping out Kenny a lot, and I was I trained myself to always be ready and available for him, just because at any given moment he needs something. It's always Paul or Tori. Where's
Mhm.
Tori? And then like the second that you're not on call for him, he like screams for you, and you're like, I'm on the other side of the set. Let me run. Um, and so I think that habit has carried over to other jobs with
Mm.
other directors. And then I just did a commercial with Kenny, and I was brought on as a dancer. There was
Nice.
another choreographer who had her own team and everything, but Kenny was the director, and I was just so used to being by his side and making sure that he didn't need anything. And not that it wasn't my place, because I'm there to help the project in any way that I can always, but I found myself feeling like, oh, like maybe I shouldn't. I don't know if I should be here. I don't know if I should be standing here. And then I remember, like, you know what? As long as it helps the production and you're not
Yeah.
stepping on any toes, it's totally fine. So there's definitely imposter syndrome, especially being young. Um, but
You were kicking ageism out of the park. Can I just say that? Like, you are like literally, I guess you're like a year younger or two than me, but like, girl, I look up to you. Like, what?
Thank you. Thank you. I think it's something that I've been working on for ever since like I said, in kindergarten, I was 2 years younger than all of the kids. And that was only because I was there because my grandma needed to watch me, kind of
Yeah.
thing. So I've always grown up around older people, and it's always been, oh, you're too young for this, oh, you're too young for that. And I'm very much the type of person that if you tell me that I can't, I will work twice as hard to show you that I can.
Totally. Yeah.
No.
Like, do it. Like, prove them wrong. Do it.
Exactly.
Like,
Yes.
that's just giving yourself extra flame to like kill it even harder.
Yeah. Keep it coming. Keep it coming.
Well, I guess we all grew up in like the generation of High School Musical and everything. What was it like getting to work with Kenny? Like, I guess he's like one of those like legend people that everyone talks about, but it's like what like actually like what does it feel like to be in his presence and work with him?
I say this all the time, and I before I worked with Kenny, before I even saw Kenny, I thought he was this big, like, yes, he's this huge director who knows so much stuff, and he can get pretty serious when he needs to be. But I never would have imagined how big of a heart he has. He just wants to spread love and joy and good feelings and inspire constantly. And no matter if it's his words or him actually giving you a hug, like it feels like just one big hug, and I believe in you constantly. That's what it feels like. I do have to say that working with Kenny has ruined High School Musical for me. Not in a, I guess it's not a technically a bad way,
What
but
do
I
you mean?
watched it. Okay, so you like watch High School Musical, you like feel the whole thing, you feel the nostalgia, you feel like you're in the movie.
Yeah.
I'm Gabriella and Troy loves me, right? I watched it the other day, not the other day, it was like a couple weeks ago. I watched it with my friend in Vancouver, actually. We watched it in Vancouver, and I've been around Kenny enough while he's filming and working to where I watch the movie and I don't see just what's in the screen. I don't see what's just in the frame. I see the entire setup. I see Kenny saying certain things that I'm like, oh, okay, Kenny must have said this to Vanessa to get her to do that. Or he lit it this certain way because he wants to get this reaction of the audience. It was painful for me. I was like, I know I can hear Kenny being like, Tori, can you get so-and-so to do this? I'm like, ah! I mean, it's so cool. And I am so lucky to be able to say that I even have that ingrained into my brain. But man.
It's like for people going to film school, I've said this before, but it's like people who go to film school can't watch films the same because you're in the mindset of the person behind the camera or creating, directing, whatever position you're in. And then you watch the film back and you're like, did this film even make sense? Like did the plot make sense? Because like that's not what you're focused on. You're focused on how it looks.
Analyzing it the whole time. And I'm just, it's like you're always kind of working a little bit, and I'm working on turning that off. I need to watch movies like twice or like
if you figure it out.
times.
Tell me how, because I can't figure it out.
Yeah. I also can't watch movies or TV shows with my family sometimes because there are people that like to discuss while we're watching. And I'm like, I need to focus on what's happening on the screen. Shush. I mean, I'm not that aggressive, but like in my brain, I'm like, I need to focus. Pay attention, you guys.
I feel like, when you like watch like any sort of movie, like say you're watching like the Avengers or whatever, like there's just so much going on. And then suddenly everyone's like, who is this guy? Who is this? Where's this guy from? And then it's like,
watch.
Please just watch it, please. Do you see yourself ever like directing projects in the future? Like, are you learning things from Kenny and then like saving it for your own Tori bank?
Oh, 100%. I want to direct, write, and produce.
Amazing.
We're taking little nuggets and putting them in my back pocket for now.
Of course. Oh my gosh. Do you have any like passion projects in mind that you want to see done?
Yes, I have a couple. not ready to share anything yet, but I have some really cool ideas, and I've already started writing a bit. But yeah, I've just been lucky to be around so many great creatives to pull things from. I had a dance teacher once, Tice Diorio, who would always say, it's not bad to steal. You just like steal the idea and make it your own kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Not the like, physical, oh, this is the movie idea, but like the way people do things. So I'm just very lucky to be surrounded by so many brilliant minds that can help solve the problems that are going on in my little movies in my head.
I mean, like, let's talk about music now and like dance and everything. I
Yeah.
guess people are like, how are dance and music, I guess, combined, or how is it like tied together? And I'm like, if you're a dancer, you have to be dancing to something, if that's like sounds, beats, whatever. So I guess talk about the relationship with dance and music for you.
So my mom and dad wanted me to be trying a bunch of different things always. So we did a little bit of sports and things like swimming and all of that. And then we also did the more creative side, which was dance and then instruments and vocal lessons. So my dance studio starting out was a dance and music studio.
Oh,
So
cool.
I would go from like ballet and hip hop and jazz, and then straight into the other part of the building where I would do my piano lessons and then my vocal lessons.
That's so fun.
Yeah, it was fun. It was crazy. It was great time management practice in the real world. But there came a point where dance did take over my life. But music was still very relevant, but I stopped playing the piano and singing as much. And now I'm getting back into it. I do like piano theory classes, and then I train with David, who trained all the people for Julie and the Phantoms. And I don't know, dance and music go very, very hand in hand. Like you said, you don't, I mean, like there are companies and place in ways of dancing where you create phrases and then put it to the music, but I was never really like that. The music makes you move. There's a reason you're doing it. And I think that's why I gravitate so much towards film and TV dance, because there's always a purpose. Dance and music are very much just a part of a story, if that makes sense. With the dance, you have a part of the story. The music has a reason because it's telling a story. Acting has a reason because it's telling the story, you know?
I think you said in an interview once too that you guys are like dance writers.
Yes. The definition of choreography or choreographers are dance writers. Which I find so funny when production companies think that you can just show up to set and like a dance just happens. And I'm like,
no,
that's not
no.
we need prep days, and then we need rehearsals. We need prep days to make sure we know exactly what moves we're doing so we can teach the actors, so we're not changing choreography on people who've never danced before. It's hard enough learning a dance once and then rewiring your brain, you know, it's difficult. But yeah, it's just fun. I'm like, you wouldn't come on set and be like, oh, okay, so this is what you're gonna say today, you know.
Totally.
To the actors, we need to talk about that more. Like in general, people need to know. People just don't know that dance or choreography is dance writing.
I feel like that's with a lot of positions in a film industry too. Every single role has a lot more description and like behind the scenes work than people anticipate or know.
Oh, definitely. And it's such a blessing when you get a director or a producer that knows exactly what it takes to get a good product.
I guess, okay, take me back to like working on the Kissing Booth versus Barbie versus Julie and the Phantoms, because all of them have different, I guess specifically with like Kissing Booth, you're like in like the DDR little box, so your movement is like confined. And then you have Barbie, which is like motion capture. And then you have like Julie and the Phantom with the ginormous group numbers. What are the different like strategies that go behind like one setup to the next?
the common thread between the three of them, let's start with things that are similar. We always pre-shoot everything so that the crew and team and director and producers know exactly what they're getting and what we need to get on the day. Usually we're not blessed with someone who, or people who know how to shoot dance the way that it's supposed to be seen. And so sometimes you have to give a visual shot list and be like, these are the shots that will tell the story the best. So for each of those, we pre-shot all of our rehearsals as if we were shooting it on the day. Like we got a DDR machine in our rehearsals for Kissing Booth, so we can show them exactly how it's gonna look, you know? And Paul Becker has some really cool side-by-sides of rehearsals and the actual film to see how compared to what it was in rehearsals. And sometimes it changes, but most of the time it's very, very similar. With Kissing Booth, man, I had to dance on a DDR machine in so long. And then I went to Dave & Buster's before to like prep my brain. DDR is so hard. You would think I'd be so good at it because my brain was mashed potatoes. Oh my gosh.
like I don't know. I feel like as a dancer, you just feel like you have all this space to move and like tell your story, but it's all like in a box. So like how?
I mean, after we got the hang of it and got used to the confines of the DDR machine, we could play around with it. And I've seen some really cool freestyle DDR stuff, like for competitions and stuff. And they jump off the machine and do flips. And I was like, okay, so we can like realistically play around the machine as long as we're hitting certain timings. And we had a lot of fun with that. And luckily the actors were super down to try whatever with us.
Oh my God. There's DDR competitions?
Oh my gosh, they're the most intense things in the whole entire world.
What?
Like, it's not just in the movie. Like, go look them up. They're pretty crazy. People are
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It's pretty nuts.
What's it like doing animation dance? Like, how does that differ from like I feel a story coming on.
That was the longest day of my life. That was the
Wait, you did it all in one day?
I think we did it in 2 days. I think Louise came on
the second.
God. But oh my God. Oh no, I think we did it in 1 day. Like the actual filming of it. We
God.
Beforehand. But because it's animation, you don't need multiple people because they can just duplicate you.
Right.
So we fit the whole entire movie in 1 day or 1.5 or something like that. I forget. It was so long ago. But everything that you see dancing in that movie is me. I just had to do it like different ways and like accent different things to make it seem like it was different people. But with the exception of like some of the partner dances, because it was me and Louise for that. But
yeah,
all of them were me. And man, I was so tired. And we film in this like closed off room that has like 50 million different cameras, and then you have all the dots and stuff on you. And they have like a big screen on the side that shows you like where you're dancing. And it's sometimes hard because they have to make sure your surroundings match. I don't know how to explain this. Oh gosh, what's the word? My brain is mashed potatoes right now. They have to make sure like everything's to scale. So you have to like scale up your surroundings before you start. And we had these props because there's no real set. It's all visual. So I'd be like hanging off a pole, but it was really an air balloon or something like that. We just had to make sure all the dimensions were correct. Oh my gosh, it was crazy. And then there's this ridiculous thing that you have to do every time you're done and every time you start, and you have to like stand in a T. And I kept forgetting. Like you'd think after the 8th time maybe that I'd remember, but
Yeah.
oh my god, it was a struggle bus. But it was so much fun, and it's so cool to see in the movie. Like my god sister watched it. She loves Barbie movies, and she's like, "That person dances like Ate Tori," and I'm like, "That's because it is." And she goes, "But that one too," and I'm like, that's me too. So it was
That's
pretty fun to
crazy.
be like, yeah, that's me, and that's me, you know.
She must really love you to know your exact dance style. Like, that's crazy.
Let me tell you, that kid is so bright. She's like 8, and she's so freaking smart.
Oh my
Like
God.
sometimes I'll say things and she'll just correct me, and I'm like, "You're 8. I don't understand." And she's like the funniest, wittiest little girl. Like she'll make these really sarcastic jokes, and I'm like, "Who are you? I'm
What?
obsessed with you."
Yeah,
She's
honestly, like kids today are like honestly probably smarter than like anything that we ever were because technology is like here.
oh yeah, she will like FaceTime me and then show me all these cool tricks with the emojis. And then I got a bunch of favorite dolls for one of the gifting suites that I did. And she's like, "Oh my gosh, okay, I'm gonna save this for at home because I'm gonna make a fake YouTube video. I can't post it on real YouTube because I'm not allowed to. But my auntie gave me this camera and I'm really excited. I'm gonna do a whole haul." And I'm like, "You're 8. What?"
We got a YouTuber in the making.
For real, for real. I'm like, "We gotta start you. I want to do a podcast with her. That'd be so fun." She like talks her head off, and I'm like, people would love this.
There's like this TV show where it says like I think it's like kids say the darnest things. It's literally just kids going off about the randomest things. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I can see why you made a TV show about this.
If I could, I would hang around kids all day. They are the funniest things in the whole entire world. They're so great.
Yeah, we love them. I guess what was it like? Because okay, wait, back up to the Barbie day. When you were dancing, because like film days are probably like 12 to 15 hours. How long in that time frame are you actually physically dancing?
Like all of it. Okay,
Holy cow.
we had lunch and then like the breaks where they would set up and make sure everything was to scale.
Yeah.
But because it's only me, it was like take after take after take after take
Yeah.
after all day. And you know, they try to get as much done as possible within the short amount of time. I don't know how long we were there, but it was at least 8 hours, and it just felt like forever because you're in this like little basement kind of thing
Yeah.
because it's all soundproof and all that. But man, I don't think I was ever that tired. I remember doing the choreography and being like, "Wow, why did I make this so hard?" Like, dang.
Okay, when you listen to like a song or when you get a new piece, what's the first thing that you hear? Is it like the beat or is it like the genre, the lyrics?
Usually I listen for beat pattern and lyrics. Lyrics
Mm.
are kind of the most important just
Mhm.
because you need to know what the writers are trying to portray through this
Mm.
musical number.
Mhm.
Um, and then beat pattern and tempo, it just dictates the feeling of the dance
Mhm.
and what you can do to make it not flat. And
Mm.
sometimes if the song is being made for the show, we're able to talk to the music coordinator, who can talk to the producers and stuff and add certain things in. Like, you know the number in High School Musical 2? Yeah, 2, where they're like dancing in the kitchen.
Yes.
I have never talked to Chucky or Kenny about this, but at least with my experience in doing musical numbers and stuff, we find things to play around with in our number. And sometimes it's not in the music. So I'm sure when creating that number in the kitchen, you know, the whole like musical instrument parts where they play with the pots and pans and the little
Yeah.
stuff.
I'm here like the ding, 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 ding.
Exactly. I'm sure that Kenny was like, hey, can we add in some, let's say like pans and pots hitting, and we'll do it in this rhythm. Like I have so many voice memos of me trying to beatbox certain patterns and stuff to send to producers to make sure we can get what complements our moves as much as possible.
That's so cool. I've never like thought of like, it's like things you don't think of, to be honest. And see, again, you're like educating us on what it means to be a choreographer and like what it takes. Educate the people, let them know that choreography is not easy.
And sometimes choreographers that work today don't even know that you can do that. You can ask. And I've been around people, luckily, that have been bold enough to ask and know that you're allowed to do those things. So yeah, it's just, as much as I've been lucky enough to be around these people, I want to share so that we can get the best products out of all of our projects, you know?
Totally. I feel like in the film industry, it's always difficult to find proper mentorship, but you actually have like a mentorship with Paul, right? What's that kind of like?
It's been really great. You know, it comes from a line that starts with Gene Kelly. Gene Kelly mentored Kenny, and Kenny mentored Paul, and Paul mentors me. And I feel really blessed to be a part of that, just because, I mean, look at those names. Like, it's crazy. And they're all people that don't just do one thing. Like, Gene danced and acted and directed and all of those things, and so did Kenny. And I just feel very what's the word, not validated, but like my dreams are very possible of coming true, you know?
That's crazy.
Like,
yeah, you're
crazy because the people that I'm looking up to and learning from have done it.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Okay, back to the music. I feel like we ventured away, but we'll come back to it now.
Yes.
For your dance style, when you this is technically dance related still, but whatever. We're allowed to bounce around. This is my podcast. For dance, when you're in Vancouver versus LA versus Toronto, we talked about this in like Sasha Carlson's episode, but do you feel like you have different styles of takeaways when you're in different places?
I grew up dancing in different states every weekend with the whole convention competition world. So I feel like I've traveled and danced enough to really be able to distinguish my style. That being said, my style is a huge mix of everything. So I feel like wherever I go, it just depends on the class or the setting that like what part of that style shines through the most. If that makes sense.
You're versatile. You can just adapt to whatever sort of environment you're in.
That is definitely one of my strengths.
Oh my God, yeah. Because like I guess someone will phone you up and be like, hey Tori, can you like dance in this genre or that genre? And you'll just be like, I'm there.
Yes. Actually, this past job, we came into rehearsals. It was my first time working with this choreographer. And usually in hip hop settings, I'm like the most technical, or in like technical settings, I'm the most groovy or whatever. And she was a hip hop choreographer, but I was watching her assistants like while they were prepping or getting ready, like warming us up, and I saw them marking like really technical sections, and the choreographer came in and was like, hey, so we're all going to be split up in sections. I've already split it up. And I was like, oh, interesting. Like, I wonder which section I'm going to be in. One, knowing that she's never seen me dance before, and two, knowing that Kenny recommended me for this job. I'm interested to see if I'm going to be in a hip hop section or if I'm going to be in a technical section, because there was only one technical section. I ended up being in that technical section and it had hip hop elements within it, but it was just interesting. I never know what to expect, which section I'm going to be thrown into.
And I guess that's exciting too, because I guess you always get to have fun no matter what. Like it's never going to be like the same routine every single day.
Right. It's definitely, I get imposter syndrome sometimes when I do that, just because I'm like, oh, like I'm too technical for this hip hop section. Like I look crazy, or I'm like, I'm not technical enough for this technical section. Like, but I can kill the grooves kind of thing. But, you know, you just gotta get over yourself and the ego that's holding you back kind of thing.
I mean, like, how do you cope with imposter syndrome? Because I know a lot of people struggle with it. And like sometimes people just don't ever cope with it because it's so difficult to overcome.
I just have to remind myself. One time I was doing a self-tape and I have another mentor, Blake McGrath, who I remember going on tours with him. He would sing his freaking heart out, and he is an amazing singer. Oh my gosh. Come off stage and be like, that was awful. Like I can't watch the video. It was so bad. It was so bad. I'm nitpicking every single part of this. And so I find myself when I'm performing doing the same thing. And I called him. I was like, Blake, I love being like you sometimes, but I absolutely hate it other times. Like I'm trying to get the self-tape done and I can't do it. And I had to sing in it. And he goes, Tori, you just have to remember, like, it's not about you. Get over yourself. Just get over yourself. Like it's your purpose that's driving you to do these things. So it's not even about you and how you feel about it. So that has really helped me with whenever I feel like I'm out of place or I'm thinking, oh, I'm not qualified to do this. I can't. It's not about you.
Interesting.
And when you think about it that way, you're thinking more about the actual product that's happening and the message that you're trying to convey rather than all of it being about like me kind of thing.
I like that. I'm going to keep that in my back pocket too now. Tori quotes. Okay. Okay. Now I'm seriously, we got to talk about the music at some point because Hangout is not anything except music. What was the first concert you went to? Do you have memories of your first concert?
Okay, so the first like concert I went to was the Channel 933 like summer something or the other.
I love it.
I never really like went to concerts as a kid. I was just too busy.
Yeah.
But that was the first concert that I saw Justin Bieber in. And I remember thinking like before, I don't know what the hype is about Justin Bieber. Like he's not even that cute. Like he sings higher than I can. I don't really know what the whole deal is. I went to that concert and he performed and I was like, oh, you can actually sing. Like it's not just putting on a show. You can actually sing. I have respect for you. So that changed my life because I liked Justin Bieber after that.
The Bieber fever hit her hard.
I wasn't ever like obsessed. I was like, okay, respect. I was like 8.
I think my first concert was like either Hilary Duff or the Jonas Brothers. And I was just like,
oh, that is such a lie. My first concert ever was High School Musical.
What do you mean? Like the high school musical live tour thing, like with Vanessa Hudgens and everything, or like
with Vanessa Hudgens? And then I remember crying because I was like, who's this guy? That's not Zac Efron. Love you, Drew Seeley. I love you. You're very talented. But I was like, that is not Zac Efron, Mom. I came here for Zac.
That is not my Troy Bolton.
Not my Troy Bolton.
I feel like your life has like a full circle moment, like just with like the first concert being High School Musical to like now, like.
Let me tell you, it blows my mind constantly, and I tell Kenny this all the time. I would not be doing what I'm doing now if it weren't for him. I remember watching High School Musical with my cousins and then like forcing them to come and dance with me and like doing the thing. And then I'd be like screaming at them because they're doing the choreography wrong, they're doing the staging wrong, they're like performing wrong. Yeah.
She was a director then, and now she is going to be a director now.
I think I might have been born to be a director.
I love that. I feel like some people just have like a natural like shtick to them to just like, it's just there and they're just going to be that. Like there's no other way.
Life is just about finding out what that is, because sometimes you just don't know until you know. Like something just likes and you're like, oh, that's weird. I never really paid attention to any of this, but now that I'm thinking back on my life, it's like a common thread within everything. It's like recently I've gotten like super into baseball. And I love baseball. Like, baseball's great. It's such a good game. It's such a good game.
I hate that like Canada here, we don't have like big baseball games though. Except in Toronto.
I was gonna say, you have the Blue Jays. How's that working? They're just staying in the States, huh?
I guess so. I'm not sure. COVID is just screwing everything up.
I know. Oh my gosh, it's so weird. But like, okay, with baseball, before I even like really paid attention to it 100%, I was like, okay, oh, I guess I grew up in Petco Park. Like my family loved going to San Diego Padre baseball games. Like I got my first splits at a baseball game, watching it in like the field, you know, like, and then all the people growing up, you just have to pay attention to things in your life and look for common threads. And I feel like that'll help you find what you're meant to be doing or the avenue that you're, I don't know.
Do you think you're in like that avenue right now? Do you feel like you're there?
For now, at least, until something else pops up and I have other big revelation. But I'm pretty sure this is it. I'm pretty sure.
I love it. I just love like hearing people talk about their passions and just like being so young and like literally finding it so early too.
Yeah, I mean, relatively like within my friend group and things, I feel like I was a little late to realizing what I was supposed to be doing, because I grew up in the dance world and there are definitely like dance geeks who have known since they were kids exactly what artists that they wanted to go on tour with. They knew all the history of all the dance. There's so much history in dance. And I was just like, I don't know who I want to dance for. I don't know what I want to do. I don't even know if I really want to dance. I'm kind of here just training my butt off because I get obsessed with training for things. But like, I didn't really know what I wanted. And same with like film and stuff. There was people who, since the womb, one of my best friends, Michael, she's such a film nerd, like knows exactly who won what Oscar in what year kind of thing. And I'm like, okay, like I'm starting to like study these things, but like I didn't grow up knowing. So I feel like I'm a little late, which is hilarious because I'm 20, but you know.
You are fine. And I feel like I'm like the same with just comparing myself with other people and being like, oh, these people are like well established already. And I'm like, I'm so far behind in the game. And I'm like, and then that's when the imposter syndrome kicks in again. And then it's just like, and then it's just like the endless cycle. But we gotta be confident with ourselves. Not the rabbit hole. We don't want to go there.
No. And that's when you have to remind yourself, bro, it's not about you. It's literally not about you.
Seriously, that's in the pocket now. It's in the pocket.
Bro, it's not about you.
Put it on a t-shirt. Tori's making merch.
Man, the amount of like t-shirts that I could make that are just like literal little remind. Wow, what a tongue twister. Little reminders to myself that like kind of slap me in the face a little.
For the Hangout, we always talk about how music sort of impacts people in different ways. How do you think this art has kind of changed or impacted your life in its own way?
Music?
Yeah, or just like music and dance and art in general.
I mean, I definitely think that Kenny always says art is good medicine. And I always say that. And I don't think people understand what I mean by that. But the things you watch and listen to and see every day shape your life so much more than you even think, because it's very primal to be monkey see, monkey do.
Totally.
You learn from experiences. And if you don't learn from experiences, you learn from other people's experiences. And that's just how humans are wired. And I do believe in these stories, whether it be through dance, through music, through film and TV, shape people's lives. And I can't tell you how many times I've just felt giving up or like being sad about situations at school or sad about boys or whatever, or even my career kind of things. And then you watch people on TV, and yes, it's not real, but the stories could be real. And the reason people love these songs or love these shows is because they can relate to them and see that there's a better outcome that can come from life.
Totally.
So I feel like it's extremely cliche to say, but it's so true. Like the music that I listen to and the shows that I watch and the dances that I dance have really saved my life sometimes. And I know that that's happened for other people as well. There's so many stories of like, oh, if I hadn't heard this song, like, I don't know where I'd be right now. Or if I hadn't watched this movie, I think I would have given up on X, Y, and Z, whether it be like a person, themselves, or one of their dreams, you know? And I think that's why I want to create so many different things in different avenues, because I just want to be able to show people that things are possible if you just keep pushing through. And I think it's cool to be able to do like one avenue, but to reach so many different people that maybe won't watch movies or won't listen to this type of music. If you can do multiple different things, you can reach multiple different people in the same way.
Yeah, totally. And I feel like art is just like, it just impacts people so differently. And that's why this podcast was also just so important, because I just want to share how art and music kind of changes lives, and it changes it changes people's lives differently. And every single person has like their own story. And it's just so cool diving into that. Yeah.
It's cool seeing like the common thread. If the story is completely different, or the circumstances are different, but it's all the same theme. Like, oh, music changed my life. Or it's funny because people always say how our jobs aren't real jobs. But through the pandemic, what did you guys do? You didn't go and like sit in your office and do X, Y, and Z. You watched Netflix. You listened to music. You painted. You created all these different things. So I'm like, don't ever say that we're non-essential.
That's
like,
such a good point.
What happens when you run out of things to watch? You beg Netflix to create more.
Or you want this artist to create the new album.
Right. And even like with kids, you use videos and TV shows to teach your kids principles of life, you know? And that's the same with adults. Like these movies come out, and whether you know it or not, it's telling you how to act and behave in the world, you know? And I think that's what's so golden about Kenny is whenever I watch him do these things, I remember him talking about High School Musical and being like, no, I need to have a Latina as my lead. Like I have to make sure kids know that it's possible and you can do these things, and humans are humans, not what they're born into, you know? We're not just a label. Like totally. I need it to be normal. But yeah. There's so many things that Kenny has said that just emphasize that. And he's like, it's good medicine. We need to teach people how to be good people through example. And I'm like, that right there. Yes.
That's amazing. And yeah, it's just so inspiring to see and also just hear like fellow Asian creative stories too. Just, yeah, it's just, yeah, because it's like, I don't know. I just feel like for me, I grew up in like a very structured like academics and everything future. And I was just like, this is not me. Like I cannot see myself doing something like that. And so like photography and like film and everything was just so natural. It came so natural. So I'm sure it was like that for you with like dance and everything.
I was so lucky to have extremely supportive parents and that wanted me, yes, they wanted me to do sports. They imagined
Mm,
that I would do sports, but because they were never able to pursue the arts in their families, not that my grandparents weren't supportive of it, they just didn't think it was really an option. And they also had multiple kids to like support and stuff.
mhm,
So my family wanted me and my sister to try absolutely everything.
totally.
And I think seeing me in my thing in dance and creating things around the house, I wanted to be a doctor. I wanted to
Oh, wow.
like be a surgeon. I was on the medical track in my high school. Like
That's so
I
cool.
loved it.
Yeah.
I think my mom was like the only mom ever to be like, yo, you're not going to be happy. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm going to be saving lives. I'm going to be doing these things. I love learning about the body. She's like, no. Which is hilarious coming out of the stereotypical
I love
Asian
that.
mom's mouth.
I love that. I love that. That's so interesting. I want to talk about food because I feel like people who come from out of town always find the best food in Vancouver. Like, honestly, I've lived here my whole life, and it's always people who are not from here recommending the best food places. So, give me the food recommendations in Vancouver that I may not know about,
Okay.
please.
Hold on. I have it on
Also,
my
you
phone.
posted about Dippin' Dots the other day, and I was like, oh my God, I miss them because I feel like they're not like a Canadian thing. I think they're only like in the States, if I'm being honest.
They used to have little stands everywhere in the States, and I guess Dippin' Dots is like slowly going out of business, and they only sell them in like these prepackaged bags.
Oh,
And like you'll find them at gas stations and stuff. But like we used to have them at malls and like the Wetzel pretzel booths. Like they used to be like that.
is that what's a wet? What is that?
You guys don't have Wetzel pretzel? Oh, I guess you
I don't,
wouldn't. Okay, you know
we don't even have
booth-
Targets. We don't even have Targets.
That's unfortunate. I'm so sad
I know
about that.
it is so unfortunate.
But like Booster Juice, you know how they have like little
Yes.
booths in the malls?
Yes.
Like
Oh, okay.
they have like booths like that for Dippin' Dots.
Oh,
And they started closing them down, and then you can only find them in gas stations or like random tourist places that you can go to. Then I was in Coronado, which is a little island in San Diego, and I I was talking to Charlie because we were walking down Venice like a couple days before, and he was like, or I was like, oh my God, they have Dippin' Dots. And he's like, okay, can we come back and get them? Because we need to get limeade from CVS. And I was like, okay, like, can't we just get them now? And he was like, no, like, we'll come back, I promise. We went back, the store was closed. And so I was like, I didn't get my Dippin' Dots, Charlie. I'm gonna fight you. Exactly.
throw fists, throw fists.
But no. And so I was walking past and there was a Dippin' Dots sign, and I was like, there's Dippin' Dots? And so I went inside expecting like the plastic bag, and then they had the old school like little scoop it out and put it in the Dippin' Dots cup.
I'm so jealous right now. I'm so jealous right now.
It was so great. It was so great.
I think the last time, oh my God, I think the last time I had them was like when I was at like Universal Studios in Hollywood, which is literally like years back. And I always will get it.
Yeah, they stopped selling them at freaking like amusement parks, and I'm really sad. I would always look forward to, and at baseball games. That's what I remember coming to the baseball games just for the Dippin' Dots. Just for the Dippin' Dots.
That's a
like,
mood. That's a mood.
In the little San Diego Padres ball cap souvenir cup. Those are the good old days.
That is a mood. Okay, what are the Vancouver go-to spots? What are your Vancouver go-to spots?
Okay, last time I was there, I ate at Meat like every single day.
Is that like on Main Street? Like Meat on Main? Or is that a downtown place?
there's meat in Yaletown,
Okay.
and then there's meat in Gastown as well. What else? I have a whole. I just sent this
Do you have a
to
list?
somebody. I have a list in
Oh.
every city that
Oh,
I've gone
wow.
to. I love food.
She's on it.
Is awesome. Okay. Have you been to Social Corner? Per se Social Corner. It's on Smythe and
Social
Mainland.
Corner. What type of food do they have?
They have Italian and like Spanish food.
Okay, no, I might be confusing that with Brown's. Like social
Okay.
Brown's Social House. Never mind, not the same place.
It's not the same place.
Okay.
Go to Per se Social Corner. Hopefully Fabrizio's there. Tell him that I say hi. He's amazing. Or Sean. They're great.
I love that. You know the employees. I love it.
Oh, trust me, I am notorious for like making family everywhere, especially if food is involved.
I love
Also,
that.
really great people, and they're so sweet. They have another restaurant called, oh my god, what is it called? It's on Georgia. Oh my gosh, I'm blanking right now. They have this fine dining experience that is, oh my god, absolutely incredible. Aquafarina. It's called Aquafarina. They just opened. I think they might have their patio open now. It's gorgeous. It's a pretty penny to like go and eat there, but holy wow, it is the most incredible Italian food that I've had in my life.
It'll be a special sort of bougie treat day.
Yes, it's definitely like a situation, or like if you're having a really bad day and you just need really good food. Okay. Have you been to the Acorn?
No.
The Acorn is this like vegan vegetarian place. I'm not vegan or vegetarian. I just love that Vancouver has so many vegan vegetarian options that you feel really fulfilled with after. Like you don't feel like you're just eating rabbit food.
Right.
Have you been to Heirloom?
No. See, this is what I mean. Literally, you guys know all the good places, which I literally live here my whole life, and I still literally have never been to these places.
Heirloom is another like vegan vegetarian place. They have this, oh my god, vegan blueberry cheesecake. I'm like, oh, and their vegan peanut butter cheesecake. Wow. I'm like crying because I'm not in Vancouver right now.
I'm just gonna like bounce after this and just go downtown.
You should. You really should.
Okay, cool.
I have like places that I just found that I forgot to put down. I don't know. I'll send you a list.
Amazing. Please do.
You know what? We'll go next time I'm in Vancouver.
Okay.
We'll go.
Sounds good. Yes, please. Guilty pleasures. On Boo Boo Stewart's episode, we talked about The Bachelor. What is your guilty pleasure? Could be music, could be food, could be TV, film.
Food wise, it's definitely carbs. I'm a sucker for pasta and pizza and any bread. I freaking love bread. Bread is the love of my life. If I could marry it, I would.
Gotcha.
Guilty pleasures. Let's see. Shows. Friends and Gossip Girl.
Friends is a classic. I put a little Joey here just because I knew you guys were like a fan of Friends, and I was like, okay, I don't know who your favorite like Friends character is, and I was like, let's roll a dice. Let's see if it's Joey or Chandler. I don't know, because that's usually the top two.
I love all of them so much for different reasons. Totally. I mean, Charlie's a walking Joey. He is like 1000% Joey. A little bit more hippy dippy than Joey is, but like he has that same pop figure up above his bed. It's so funny.
Love it.
So if you ever do an episode with him, yeah,
Charlie, we're calling you out. Come on the podcast and we'll just talk about Joey Tribbiani for the whole entire hour.
Exactly. I love Phoebe though. Like I feel like my alter ego, not my alter ego, but like I feel like I'm Phoebe sometimes.
I love it.
All over the place.
Phoebe was my first ever pop character. And it went down. It went down a bad rabbit hole after that anyways.
I love pop figurines. Like, they're pretty
Girl,
great.
don't even get me started. Don't even. Like, it's dangerous. It's dangerous.
I love it so much. I think the first one, my friend Cameron Begandova, she played Selena Kyle in Gotham.
Okay, cool.
And my first one was actually hers, I think, because I was like, dude,
that's so
you
cool.
have a figurine. Can you sign it? That's so weird. Like, it was so cool.
That is so cool.
12.
I love that. Friends is probably, which is your favorite Friends episode, if you could choose one?
Oh my. I just really love that, like, that Thanksgiving episode when Rachel tries to make that layered trifle cake thing.
Trifle cake?
Because I feel like that's like the story of my life. I like try really hard and it's like kind of a mess. And like people are like, what's going on? And then there's like also people like Joey that's like, this is amazing, you know?
So wait, are you bad in the kitchen but love eating your food? Is that what you're saying?
Oh no, I'm actually pretty great in the kitchen, I think. However, it just like takes a lot to get there. Like, I got banned in the kitchen in Hawaii with Kenny because I was making these cilantro chicken patties, which so good.
I'm so hungry at this point.
Oh, I know. I have a habit of doing this on podcasts. Like, I have a habit of doing this in general in life. Oh my gosh, Charlie gets so mad at me because like we're both the same. Like, if we keep food in the house, we'll just like eat it all.
Oh my God.
And like we'll be hanging out and I'm like, oh, I really, really want blueberry pancakes right now. And he's like, well, I can make blueberry pancakes. No, we shouldn't. And I'm like, but we should.
Contemplating life.
Going on and on and on.
Oh my God.
And it's just a mess. But okay, so I was trying to make these chicken patties and then I burnt myself with oil. I don't know if you, where's the
girl?
I got a scar.
No.
So, but like, that's what I'm saying. Like, it takes a lot to get there. And every Thanksgiving I get some sort of burn or something. Like, there's so many.
That's why you got kicked out of the kitchen? Is that why you got, because you burned your...
Yeah.
It's for your own safety.
I'll set off the fire alarm. I burned myself. Poor Kenny. We were supposed to take care of him and he had to take care of us. We're a mess.
I feel like that's a fun way, I mean, more or less fun way to end off the podcast episode. Just a good Hawaiian story. Amazing. Okay, do you have any like plugins? Do you want to plug in anything? Do you want to say anything before we wrap it up?
Just that I had a lot of fun and I love this and we're gonna go on a food adventure.
Yes, please.
I did.
Amazing. Well, that was Tori Caro on the Hangout. Thank you for tuning in.